it has been a day. Mercury is retrograde, so it makes sense. It's really ironic too that I would lose my voice during Mercury retrograde, so that's why I sound really weird. Sometimes when you have things on your mind, you just have to let them out in some way. And making videos is one way that I do that. So I want to share with you 3 things that you can do during Mercury retrograde. And I know a lot of people put stuff out like this and it's very basic, but the reason I personally want to do it is because I think these are actually positive things about Mercury retrograde. I actually like when Mercury is retrograde. I know it gets a really bad rep and I understand it, especially today. I felt it. I felt the stress of it. But I mean, man, if you really want to talk about a crappy retrograde, just pay attention to your life when Mars is retrograde. Or when Neptune is retrograde and it's aspecting one of your planets natally. Ugh. Mercury retrograde isn't as bad as everybody likes to make it out to be. There's actually a lot of positives to it. So I just want to share with you 3 things that have kind of helped me navigate a Mercury retrograde and how to get the best out of it. The first thing is to practice patience and mindfulness. You need to really pay attention to your stress level. If you feel like you are antsy, urgent, frustrated, if you feel like any part of you is forcing things to happen for you, just take a step back and breathe and just remember that not everything has to get done right away. If you don't pay attention to this right away, you're going to keep running into those blocks. You're going to keep being stalled with whatever you're trying to force to make happen. So you just need to chill out. So the second piece of advice or tip that I would give for you during Mercury retrograde is to get creative. And this is why I love Mercury retrograde, because I personally feel like I am at my most creative when Mercury is retrograde. I have so many ideas. I write more, I make videos, I draw more. I started painting during Mercury retrograde, this Mercury retrograde. Especially if things happen to you like how they happen to me, where I can't use my internet or I can't speak because I literally lose my voice. Find other ways to express yourself. Find a different outlet for your voice. It doesn't have to be through words. It can literally be through anything. Even if it's by connecting to music that you love. That's another thing that I really get into during Mercury retrograde. Like I really get into music, which I'm always into music, but especially during Mercury retrograde. Yeah, music is really important, and it's another form of expression, and it's another way to connect with what you're feeling and thinking. My last piece of advice, or my last thing that I would say to do during Mercury retrograde, is to learn about yourself. And I mean this in the sense of, when a planet is going retrograde, it looks like it's going backwards in the sky, which we know that's not technically true, but what this means for us individually, personally, is that the planet is turned inward. So because Mercury isn't being expressed outward, it's being expressed inward. It's thinking about yourself. So the only time that I would say it's actually okay for you to analyze things and question things and think more is during Mercury retrograde. But again, tying into the first tip that I shared, be mindful of it. Again, if you feel like it's stressing you out or bringing you down, remember to not ruminate over it, but ask yourself questions. Things are going to come up for you. You're going to be critical of yourself. Don't let it like destroy your happiness during this time period, but use this time to think about things so that you can get some clarity on things. But be compassionate towards yourself. That's the only thing that I would say. For example, I tend to think a lot about past mistakes that I've made. I try not to let it like get me into a state of despair, but I like Mercury retrograde because I like to learn from my mistakes. So I like to think about that and recognize that it was a mistake and I could have done something better, and what could I have done better? And then I just let it go. I usually let it out in some way, like, again, be creative. I have to let it out in some way. I do, and it's done. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Just be patient with yourself, be patient with your environment. But Mercury retrograde is actually a really cool time for a lot of people. It can be, if you try to make the most out of it. You can learn a lot about yourself. You can learn a lot from your past and changes that you can make to hopefully help you strive towards a better future and a better version of yourself if you are mindful of what you're thinking in regards to your past and yourself. So I hope you're doing okay out there during this Mercury retrograde. It's in Scorpio, so a lot of dirty shit is coming out. A lot of you might feel kind of paranoid too and suspicious, but it's okay. Just listen to your body, trust your gut instinct, and be creative. Let all the old shit go. Hope you liked this video. Hope you found it kind of helpful, and I will see you next time.